WWNRockport.com, your community newsletter.
The ways in which mourning the loss of a loved one once affected every aspect of life is hard for us to imagine today. During the 19th century, when a family member died, one was expected to observe certain mourning rituals and follow certain rules. During the month of October, the Fulton mansion has been dressed for mourning, with black wreaths on the front doors, closed shutters, and black cloths covering the mirrors. But during the Victorian era, not only was the house dressed for mourning, but the family would wear mourning clothes to let people know that they had lost a family member. The length of mourning depended on your relationship to the deceased. Women were expected to wear full mourning for 2 years after their husbands died, while husbands mourned wives for a year. For children mourning parents or parents mourning children, the period of time was 1 year. It would be 6 months for mourning grandparents and siblings, and 2 months for aunts and uncles. By the late 19th century, fashion and mourning had become closely linked. Each mourning stage required different fashions, colors, and materials to be worn for acceptance in society. A man would wear a black armband, black gloves, black cufflinks, possibly black shirt buttons, and a black hat band for the appropriate time. But he was still expected to go to the office and conduct business as usual. Women had much more complicated rules for mourning clothes than men, and the activities of women throughout the mourning period were severely restricted. They could attend no weddings for the first year and no parties for the full mourning period. The first year of mourning was referred to as deep mourning. The widow wore only solid black clothing of crepe, wool, or other dull fabrics. No shiny trims or colored accessories were allowed. Veils were expected to be at least knee-length, and the only acceptable jewelry were wedding bands or specially designed mourning pieces. At the start of the second year of mourning, a widow was allowed to wear black fabrics of a shiny nature with lace and trims, and her veil could be shortened to her shoulders. At 18 months, gray and violet trims were allowed, as was white trim. Jewelry could be gold, pearls, or diamonds set in black, but no colored gems. And the trim on dresses and other clothing could be more elaborate with sparkling beads. Mourning dress extended not only to all major articles of clothing, but to accessories such as parasols, purses, and handkerchiefs. Even black bordered stationery was used for correspondence during the mourning period. Now really, whether one could follow all these rules would be based on an individual's social and economic situation. Consider a woman who might have young children that need supporting, or a man who might have children who need caring for. The rules for mourning would certainly hinder one's search for a new spouse. However, if one had the means, an individual could continue to express their grief through their clothing choices for as long as they desired. Queen Victoria wore black for the rest of her life after her husband Prince Albert died. Harriet Fulton lost her husband George after 53 years of marriage, so even though she lived another 17 years, she never remarried. And from what we can tell from photographs, she also continued to wear black for most of those years.
This has been WWNRockport.com and the Fulton Mansion wishing you and yours a happy and safe Halloween.